Hello, Trainer Chris here, talking to you about the engage phase of an ESA lesson, what it's for, and one of the best types of activities that you could do. Now, the engage phase is the first stage of an ESA lesson. It's what the E stands for. And it's essentially a warm-up. And it doesn't necessarily have to be on the topic of the lesson, but it greatly helps if it is. And I'll explain why as I describe what this phase is actually for. Now, the main purpose of the engage phase is to grab the student's attention and arouse their interest in the topic. You can only do that if this phase is indeed on topic. Now that's one reason why it should be on topic. And what this phase is also for is just to get the students thinking and speaking in English. And it doesn't matter how right or wrong the language is, because we're not teaching them at this stage. It's just to get them in the right mindset for using English in the lesson. Now, another reason that it's advisable to have this phase on topic is the secondary purpose of engage, which is it allows you, the teacher, to gauge how much the students already do and don't know about the topic and its language points. Finally, I'll say that if the engage is off topic, then there's a disconnect between that and the rest of the lesson. And it makes your transitioning from the engage to the next part of the lesson more difficult for you. On the other hand, if it is on topic, then there's a nice smooth flow from the engage into the next part of your lesson, which is in fact the study stage. Okay, so I mentioned that the main purpose of engage is for you to grab the student's attention and arouse their interest. Now, to do that, you need to have a good activity. And one of the most powerful techniques to accomplish this is to display a colourful, interesting, eye-catching visual, particularly if it's projected onto a screen. In the virtual classroom, this will be displayed, of course, on the monitor screen via screen share. Now, Unit 3 in the online coursebook does actually outline a number of activities that can be used for engage. Most of those, however, don't utilize visuals. And most of them, a lot of them, in fact, are written in a general sense. And so you have to think about how you can adapt those to particular language topics. Now, the one that I prefer and often use is a Q&A with the students centered around a visual or a set of visuals. And I've got a couple of examples here that I'd like to show you. So I just want to share a PowerPoint with you. Okay then, so I've got a couple of examples here. So let's have a look at the first one. Okay, so the topic of this lesson is holidays or vacations, but I wouldn't tell the students that. So I'll display this picture that you can see here. And I'd ask the students the following questions. What is this place? Where is it? When do you go there? What things can you do there? what other places can you go for a holiday or vacation? And what things can you do there? Okay, so notice that these questions are asking for the students' own sort of ideas and experiences about the topic. And so it's always a good idea to get answers for any one question, get answers from a few students in the group. Okay, not just one answer from one student and then move on. Okay, so let's have a look at the next example. Again, this is centered around one picture, and the topic of this lesson is types of TV programs. Okay, again, I wouldn't tell the students that. Okay, now, one thing to say as well is always bear in mind where your students are. Now, this particular lesson was for students in Thailand. And so it's always good to try and include some references to Thailand in your questions, okay? That then makes it more relevant and more meaningful for the students, and they can relate better to it. So the kind of questions I might ask here would be things like, first of all, what is she doing? Okay, and then what type of program is she watching? And then what types of TV programs are there? And then you can start asking about their experiences. How often do you watch TV? Okay, what kind of TV programs do you like? What are some popular TV programs in Thailand? What's your favorite TV program? And why is it your favorite? Okay, so again, a number of questions like that. And as I said, same as before, you can get answers from a number of students for each question. Okay, that pads out the phase a little bit. Okay, now let's look at a third example. This time, this one is centered around a set of pictures rather than just one. The topic of this lesson is describing transport. And basically the language point for that would be adjectives to describe transport. Again, though, I wouldn't tell the students any of that. Okay, so what we have here is a series of pictures, and I would show them one by one, asking 2 or 3 questions for each picture. Okay, so this first one, okay, they'll say what it is, of course, and I'd ask them, do you have a car? If yes, I'll ask them, what car is it? And if no, if you could have a car, what kind of car would you like? Okay. What is this? How often do you take the bus and where do you go? And indeed, the same questions for the remainder. Okay, this is Bangkok SkyTrain. So again, I'd ask them, how often do you take the SkyTrain and where do you go? The same for taxi, tuk-tuk, and motorbike taxis. Now again, you'll notice that, as I said, this is for students in Thailand as well, in Bangkok. So you'll notice that these are all local forms of transport. Again, makes it more meaningful for the students and they can relate to it better. Now, if I want to ask them about the language point, if I want to sort of gauge how much they know about the language point, I could ask them directly, can you give me some adjectives to describe transport? But I'd rather do it a bit more sort of indirectly and subtly. So instead, I'll display this collage of the pictures we've just shown and ask them, what is your favorite form of transport? And whichever one it is, or indeed it could be one that's not in these pictures, I'd ask them why. And in answering that question why, by necessity, they're going to have to use the target language, the adjectives to describe transport. So That way I can then see how much they already know. Okay, so let's start that. Okay, so you'll have noticed that in all of those cases, I didn't tell the students what the topic is at the beginning. In fact, I didn't mention the topic at any point throughout the engage. And the reason for that is that, again, if your engage is on topic, then at the end of the phase, you can try and elicit the topic from the students. Okay, by asking a question like, what are we talking about here? Hopefully the students will have seen the connection or the pattern, and they'll be able to tell you. And if not, you can certainly prompt them along. Okay, and the final point I'd like to make about the engage is the timing for it. It shouldn't be too long, because bear in mind, you do have the rest of your lesson to get through as well. There is no sort of fixed time, no set time for it. But a good ballpark figure is, let's say, for example, for a 1 hour lesson, the engage should be around 10 minutes or so. Okay, so that's all that I really want to say about engage. Do watch our other videos. There's one on different types of exercises that you can do in the study phase, and there's also one on activities that you can do in the activate phase. Okay, bye for now.